You are tuned to ARP on the Accelerated Radio Network. It's 12 noon, and it's time to have lunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Bringing money talk you can understand. And now here's your host, Miss Charlene.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Miss Charlene, and you're having lunch with the Finance Bunch. Today in the studio, we have some very special guests. My first guests are two wonderful young ladies, and they own Inca Mink Kids. And it's Alex and Rachel. And would you tell us a little bit about your business? I know that you do entertainment for children's parties, but we'd like to know, how did you get started with this venture? Who'd like to start?
I guess I'll start. I'm Alex. Hello.
Hi, Alex.
Hi. Thank you. Essentially, I'm a musician, so I came out to LA from Florida, actually, and I needed a way to supplement my income as soon as I came out here. So I started working for a woman that owns a similar business, a similar kids' party business, and she taught me how to do face painting, balloon animals, magic tricks, and games. And I would go out every weekend as a different character, like princess, pirate, mascot character, what have you. And after a while, I figured, I could probably do this as well and maybe do it a little bit better and more efficiently. So I decided to start my own kids' party business, and offer all of the different characters as popular storybook characters. So I started, owning and managing the business about 5 years ago, and I found that after a while that I needed somebody else to help me and pick up some of the slack. So Rachel, now my partner of 2 years, I asked her, would you mind helping me to manage some of the the scheduling of the business and handling some of the phones, the emails, and she said yes, and
I did.
Now after about a year or so of managing the business, I asked her, would you like to be a partner? And now I really don't know what I would do without her. She's been phenomenal, and it's been a lot easier, handling everything. So.
Right. And Rachel, what made you decide to get into this business? When she called, what made you say yes?
Well, I had first started actually doing educational bubble shows, so slightly different, but also performing with kids and having a big just group to entertain. So through that company, I had actually also learned princesses and clowns and the basic skills of face painting, balloon twisting, and whatnot. So this was just, to me, it started out as another company. Great, I'm going to have more work. You know?
Okay.
So, but little did I know it was going to turn into a lot more.
Okay, we also have in our audience today, in our studio today, Mr. Dustin Wu. He's a CPA, tax, accounting, and business consultations, and he's with LPW CPAs. Good afternoon, Dustin.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Now, Dustin is here to talk to us about how we can improve on the way we handle our financial part of the business and in the accounting realm. And Dustin's had to slap my hands a couple of times because, we don't always do things the way we're supposed to. And so he's really here. It's tax time. We need to get our financial house in order, get our taxes done. It's something that we have to do, but it's something that we don't necessarily like to do. So maybe Dustin can give us some tips on some things we can do during the year to make it easier on him and ourselves. And we don't have to keep filing those extensions. Okay? And also, some of the ramifications if we don't either file or file that extension. Okay, so Dustin, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, he's the gentleman on our panel today. Yay! Okay, Dustin, I wanted to ask you a question. So what are some of the important things for a small business owner to do in order to get ready for tax season?
Well, one of the big things that everyone should do even before tax season starts is make sure their books are in order. Make sure that they record all their income, expenses, so then they actually know how they're doing throughout the year. One of the best things to do is, hopefully if there's enough funds, get QuickBooks accounting, record, your bank statements in there. So you know what's going on. You know how to improve your business if, say, there's some things you buy and don't necessarily work out. Time to move on to a different product, or even for income-wise, you try and do one way, but this marketing tool doesn't work for you, so you change it up, and maybe another way brings in more income. So you definitely want to see the trends in your business throughout the year.
Okay, so it gives you a way of looking at the trends, what worked and what didn't, how much you spent on what did work or didn't work, and where not to tread again, okay, or, right, we won't go back down that path, but it gives you a way of looking back and assessing your business for the year. So I didn't think of it in that particular way, especially like with marketing, because you want to make sure that your marketing dollars, because that can be an expense that can be overwhelming. So you want to make sure that the marketing dollars are spent in the right way, and that you are recording all of the money you're spending on all of the items that you're spending for your business. And it'll help your accountant at the end of the year also for the tax season also.
And it's also good to see like how well you're growing.
Yes.
Because if you see month to month, you're just like, oh, yes. It just keeps you going.
Yes. Now, ladies, when you first started your business, what are some of the things that you can recall that, as far as your accounting is concerned, that may have helped if you would have known, or what's some of the things that you may have stumbled upon, through trial and error that we should bring to our audience's attention?
One obstacle that I faced was, I'm a musician, I'm an entertainer, so I'm kind of scattered when it comes to, organization and things of that nature. So I'm glad that, I brought Rachel on as well, because she's really, very organized and great with business. I wish that I had, had her sooner in a lot of different regards, because, now her husband actually owns an LLC as well, and he introduced us to like Wave Apps, which is an accounting software that we use right now in order to, keep track of all of our finances and expenses and everything. But I wish that I had that knowledge earlier on, and I wish that I had been a little bit better with the organization. And when I brought Rachel on, like we really got it together, and now we have like a calendar that we put all of our events on. And before I was just kind of doing it on a spiral notebook.
On a spiral notebook.
Yeah, I wish
slipping back and forth. Right?
So thank God for Rachel, because I as a creative person, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to get everything else together.
Right. Now, that speaks to, sometimes a partnership is great.
Mm-hmm.
No man is an island. I may not have an upfront partnership, but I have, everyone around me that supports what I'm trying to do, and it makes me look good, and I can come and sit in front of the mic and just kind of talk and seem like it's easy, when in fact, maybe an hour before, people have been prepping and helping to set everything up. So I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. And from the business perspective, to have a partner or someone you can bounce ideas off of, or at least put things in perspective and make sure that you keep those things, orderly, so you can get back to them, like Dustin said, and have a record, is very, very important. So when you're out there and you're choosing a business partner, sit down and talk with that person and figure out what the strengths and weaknesses are of each, so you can complement each other. And if you don't have that person in your group, then Dustin, you also have the bookkeeping portion and business consultation part 2 in your business, right?
Correct, I do.
Right. So for those of you out there who may not have that partner who is as savvy as Rachel over there, maybe you'll need to utilize Dustin included in your accounting as a bookkeeping option also. And so, Dustin, what is your contact information? So those listeners out there, get your pens ready and your pencils ready to write things down, or what were you going to say?
Okay, so my
I
contact...
thought you were going to say something, because you looked at me like...
I was waiting.
Okay, right. So tell me your contact information so that the listeners will know how to contact you.
Sure. The phone number is 310-385-8750. You can also email us at info at lpwcpas.com.
Yes, so for all of you people who are aspiring to have your own business, you might want to call Dustin. And another point is, when you're getting started, if you don't know what type of entity you should have, and you're not quite sure of how to get started or what you should do, Dustin is a great point of reference of how to get started. He was on the show before, and we talked about more of the business end of it, like when you're starting your business, who are the people you need to contact, and that's a business attorney and an accountant, so you can sit down and kind of talk through it with them to see if now is the right time to start that business, if you need to have a business license, what kind of insurances you might need to have. All those things are things Dustin can help you with, the getting started part. So utilize that phone number. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, and ladies, so back to your entertainment, because this is a children's entertainment company, right?
It is.
All right, so we were talking a little bit offline about, what that entails. And so one of the questions I asked you was, what is the age group that you focus on? Is there an age group that you focus on?
Our main group, I would say, is somewhere between 3 and 6. We'll do as young as first birthdays and making them memorable, and then we'll go up to 8 or 9 as well. We do have a big kid package. That's a lot like Color Day events. So, the egg toss, the tug of war, the whipped cream eating pie contest. But our main focus is 3 to 6.
3 to 6 years old.
Yes.
Okay. And what time of year would you say that you're the busiest?
It kind of varies, but I'd say summertime is just because the kids are out of school and everything. You tend to have a lot more events. Even most of our events occur on the weekends, but during the summertime, you even get them during the week. Halloween, all of the major holidays, say like Christmas, Hanukkah.
Yep, there's a lot of Santas out there.
Yep, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
A lot of Santas.
So you guys provide Santa also?
Mm-hmm. And like Easter Bunny.
And Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And all of the, all the characters you provide, depending on the theme of the party. And do you do consultation also?
Consultations?
Yeah, like, so if I'm a mom and I want to create a party for my daughter, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do, and I want to have this big elaborate party, or even a small simple party, do you do consultation where you say, well, if you bring in 3 of the princesses or 1, and then you do this and that and color schemes, do you do all that too?
Absolutely. We do our best to at least provide the entertainment side of it.
Okay.
And we have relationships with enough planners, like if you want to go elaborate with it, like table and chair rental, jumpers. Like I said, we have relationships. We can point you in the right direction if you also want to, add that onto your package.
Yeah, I would say the main piece of advice that I give every single party I book is book the entertainment at least an hour after the party starts,
right,
or an hour and a half, because your guests are going to be late, or they're going to want to eat when they get there. So.
That is a great piece of advice, because you're right. You wind up with the characters are there and the kids aren't, and then they book for a certain number of hours, and then it becomes sad because the characters are leaving and the kids just got there.
Right.
And the worst is when a performer's walking out and then all the kids are coming in and they've got their gift bags ready to go and give the birthday boy or girl.
Yeah. Now, I asked another question earlier, and you guys answered it perfectly, so I want to hear this on the air. What exactly do the characters do? Like, I don't have small children, so what do the characters do to entertain the kids at the parties?
Well, the main thing is the characters are in characters. If you have a superhero there, they will be a superhero. If you have a princess there, they will have the best manners. They may do a tea party. They may paint nails. But every single character does face painting, balloon twisting, games, and magic. And it's not a huge elaborate show. We do offer that too. But just enough silly kid magic that gets everybody involved, and the parents being like, how did they actually do that? Right. So that's it. Every party's a little different. All different cultures respond differently, and sometimes you're working with a language barrier or whatnot, or maybe the kids speak the language. So there's also tailoring and being sensitive to what each group responds best with.
We do offer bilingual entertainers.
We do, yeah.
You guys cover the gamut.
And
right.
Bilingual Santa. It's our newest edition.
Yeah, actually, we did a Santa party last year. It was at a Maywood supermarket, actually, and we have an entertainer that is a Spanish speaker, and he's like, you know what, if I wasn't there, I don't know what you guys would have done, because everybody spoke Spanish there, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I
he
want a
looks
singing
great.
Santa. I want a singing Santa and a singing superhero. That's what I want at my
We
party.
We can do it.
We can.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Wow, I like that. That's the entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I have a question for both of our panelists. Well, let me ask Dustin this question, and then you guys think about if this pertains to you. What are some of the tips on savings for owing taxes? What are some of the tips you could give?
Well, first of all, if you're keeping up-to-date records of your business, I usually tell clients to save about 30%, if you can, of the net, of the bottom line. And usually after this, you say $100, you keep, $30 or something like that. And there should be two bank accounts, one for your regular business and one for savings. Just transfer that amount, $30 over each time, 30% over, just so then, and you never touch that savings unless there's, something very in need that you need it for. But, always transfer it over, and then don't look at it until tax time or until you file your return.
Right.
Okay, and so you guys find that to be the case also?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, it's funny that Dustin said that because I actually do that with my own, personal bank account, and we try to do that also with our, our business account as well. We have, we have a regular checking account, and then we have a savings account, and I think we save about like $100 a month, right, at least.
Yeah, we do that just to at least not have to worry about that LLC fee that's going to come
That's
every single
right,
year.
that's right.
And then also, just for our tax accountant, for miscellaneous expenses that come up, or we find that we really need to upgrade X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And that LLC tax that comes up annually, could you speak to that more? Because that's something that a lot of people don't understand, that you have to pay that every year whether you make money or not. Could you talk about that a little bit, Dustin?
Exactly. So that's the $800 LLC tax. It's due every April 15th. If you incorporate later in the year, you still have to pay the $800. So no matter what, you have to pay that. And you could just think of the $800 as your liability protection, because that's why you create an LLC or a corporation.
I like that. So instead of seeing it as a negative, I have to pay this $800, what am I getting for it? You see it as a positive.
Of course.
And it's your liability insurance. So that's a great way of looking at it, because most of the people, I can't say everyone, most of the people that I know, they say I have to pay that money every year. It's like this. But when you think of it that way, that makes it a lot more palatable.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. That's why we have you here, to make things more palatable.
I actually have a quick question for you, Dustin.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you, just for your first year when you're incorporating, do you need to pay the LLC fee for the first year that you're in business?
Yes, you do. Yeah, no matter. That's why state of California, they have a rule. It's like, if you want to create that LLC, but it's towards near the end of the year, you can always create it after December 16th. So then you don't have to pay the $800.
Okay,
So if you if say you need to create an LLC and it's December 1st, I would greatly advise clients, hey, if you could wait 16 days, then do it. If not, then I guess you just have to do what you got to do.
Right. Okay.
Right. So that would
Interesting.
make you pay the $800 for the year that you're in, and then again April 15th of the following year. So
Correct.
it might make more sense, especially if you're doing it towards the end of the year, to just wait until the 16th to file the paperwork.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Next question. Do small business owners need to keep all of their receipts?
That's a definite yes.
Uh-oh.
So a lot of people are now buying things through Amazon.
Yes.
Everything's online. So they usually don't send a physical receipt. So what a lot of people will do, or I'll tell, and they do it in myself too, is I save it in my email as bills or invoice or receipts, and it's just throw it in there.
Right.
Now that's a good record, and if there's ever a reference for it, we can always go there, and you don't have to print it out.
Right.
Let's just say you go to the store, and buy goods. Well, I always tell every client that I have, buy an accordion, a 12 separation accordion,
That's what
one
I
for
have.
each month.
Yes.
So, you don't have to put it in order for, per date, but you can just put it in a month, and it's easy, just throw it in there.
Right.
And you can forget about it after the end of the year. So I always tell clients to get 4 of them. So for the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, because the FTP could audit up to 4 years, IRS could audit up to 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know why FTP always wants to be late, but they're always late. So 4 years, and then after the fourth year, you could recycle the accordion and use it for the next one. So it's just, and accordions are always small, so it's easy to keep it in the corner somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm a paper person. Like, I print everything. So even when I buy something online, I print the receipt out and stick it in that accordion because, you know, I'm just that kind of paper person. I'm old.
That works as well. It's good to have a physical evidence of what you bought.
Yeah, it makes it, and for me it works. You know, it works for me. So what about you guys? What do you do?
Well, everything's, pretty electronic these days. So, when we were just doing our taxes the other day, because we try to be up on it. Come like January, we try to get it out of the way.
Oh wow.
Like we just go through our bank statements that way, or we'll look at our Amazon history, and everything's usually right there for you to see. So.
Yeah, we do. I do keep an accordion though, but I do mine a little differently. I do have them for the year set aside. However, I just keep one and I file it, like our supplies, our costumes, our dry cleaning, business expenses, whether it be marketing. It's got its own little category and label, so it's real easy to also go through and find things.
Wow, she's good.
She is. She's very organized.
Wow. Wow, I need someone like you in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's great. And again, if you're not as organized as Rachel, then Dustin, having the bookkeeping side of it, like he said, get an accordion. Just take those receipts and just stick them in the month that they belong in. And that should be pretty easy. And, put it someplace where you can find it, make it accessible so you can just, put the receipts in. So thank you for that answer, Dustin.
No problem.
Another question we had come up was, at what point should a small business owner stop trying to do their own bookkeeping and taxes?
I would always tell clients it's good to do your own bookkeeping just so then you know what's going on.
Yes.
But then again, there comes to a point in your business that your time is very valuable and you should outsource it after. You could hire someone in-house or, outsource it out to like a bookkeeper or so. But, just make sure that, your hourly, basically, you this is how you gauge it. Your hourly rate should be greater than the bookkeeper, and if you're making way more money per hour to generate, it's worth it to hire that bookkeeper to do it. Tax wise, of course, it's always better like coming from me to get a professional to do the return, but of course up to your budget. So times are tough, you got to learn how to do it yourself, and then if you can outsource it out, then go ahead and do it. And then, you can always check the work of that preparer, just because in the end, it is your return. Right. So even though the other person signs off on it and there's a mistake, you did sign off on it, even though he e-filed the return. So just make sure you see the draft beforehand, and then verify, sign the e-file authorization, and you should be good to go from there.
Right, and don't just be so quick to sign because the person is a professional. Look over your tax return. Anything on there you don't understand, ask your CPA, and they should be able to explain it to you. And if they can't explain it, you might have the wrong CPA. There just shouldn't be blind spaces on there with numbers in it that don't calculate out to and make sense. So make sure when you are looking for a CPA that you look for one that's reputable, because that's what you need when you have a business. Because like Dustin said, all fingers still point back to you as a business owner. You are the responsible one. So Dustin, would you give us your information again? Because I want to make sure that they have a good CPA.
Sure. It's the phone number is 310-385-8750. And you can also email at info at lpwcpas.com.
Wonderful. So ladies, now do you I didn't distinguish or not, but do you do your own taxes or do you send them off to your CPA? How are your taxes handled once Rachel does all this wonderful bookkeeping? Then what do you do at the end of the year? Because you said you get them done right at the beginning of the new year, right?
Yeah, we try to be as organized as possible. We have a friend of mine that actually works for an accounting firm, and she does our taxes for us.
Okay.
But that being said, we actually do a large majority of the work.
Yes.
She only does the K1, which
Yeah.
I think the big
Okay.
thing is when we were hit the first of the year and we're like, not only do we have our personal taxes to worry about, we have the companies now, and
That's
we
right.
have, I think our first year we had, 18 1099s to do, and then so we were on the internet. How do we do a 1099?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I get these government issued forms? And
Right.
that each one has a dealer. So we were starting from square one the first year.
Mm-hmm.
But we do it up to the point of we can do the 1099s and the 1096. And they look real good, and then we hand it off, and we go to someone else for the Schedule K.
Okay. Now, you just mentioned 3 different forms that a lot of people have no clue what we're talking about. 1099, 1098, and the K1. So, Dustin,
Sure.
could you explain those to us, please?
Sure. So 1099 is a form for independent contractors. Usually, they're not an employee. They're just someone who you pay. That's not considered part of the rules for employee. Usually, how it works is when you want to hire this person, you ask them to fill out a W-9, which discloses if they're an individual, LLC, corporation, or partnership. And it'll disclose their EIN or social security number. And then afterwards, after you have this W-9, you can pay this person knowing that at the end of the year or in the beginning of the following year, you issue a 1099 to them, and they report that on their personal tax return. The Form 1096 is a summary of all the 1099s. So there should be just one 1096 and however many 1099s you have.
Like in Rachel's case, 18.
18.
Okay.
18, yes. And we grew by 2 this year.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
yes.
So, and then the K1 is the...
K1 comes from the partnership tax return. I'm assuming their LLC is a 1065. It's federal form 1065. It's a partnership return. Now, the IRS does not recognize LLCs. Only California does, or states do. So the state will have a form 568. So that's very similar numbers to the 1065, if you could remember that. But the K1 is the informational return that discloses how much income per the partnership percentage that each partner owns. So that goes on the personal 1040.
Right.
Individual tax return.
Individual tax return.
Yes.
Because, the federal government wants to know how much you made from every source of income you had. So on your personal tax returns will also be the accumulated income that you've made from all of your different businesses, if you have more than one business, and from your 1099s if that's separate. So everything you've done for the year needs to be a part of your tax return, or there could be a problem. Are we right?
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
if you know that you are going to get a 1099 and you don't necessarily receive it, you should definitely ask that vendor or payer that you want that 1099, because more than likely they're going to issue that 1099 even though it doesn't get to you.
Right.
And just because it doesn't get to you doesn't mean it got to the IRS. So that means
Exactly.
there's going to be a conflict of numbers, and you should get a letter probably in September, October, saying that the numbers aren't correct. So definitely don't be ignorant in saying that never received, or you never
Right.
received it.
So you need to know where you worked at
Of course.
throughout the year, and that's simple for some people, but I know entertainers specifically, because I do, as a mortgage banker, I do loans for a lot of entertainers, and I've seen as many as 35 different 1099s. One guy had 43. That's a lot.
Sounds like us.
Right?
Sounds like my husband. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a cameraman, and he'll have a stack of 1099s
Yes.
and W-2s
That's
as well.
right,
So
that's
then
right.
You've got a combo.
Yeah. So make sure you're keeping accurate records of the income that you have coming in, because if not, it can come back to bite you.
I actually have a question about that as well. Say you have like 35 1099s or 1099 forms that come in. You have like multiple sources of income. Let's say that you make, say, $100 from this one source and $100 here, $50 here. Do you still have to report them, even though, for each individual company, you might not necessarily make $600 with them?
You should always report all your income.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though you don't receive that 1099.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because the other thing is too from your 1099s, once you accumulate all of your income, like Dustin was saying, you know, the IRS will probably get it from whoever you work for.
Right.
And if it doesn't add up, then you know it's much easier to, you know, pay now than to pay later, because then there are all these penalties and. Oh my
Interest.
goodness!
Interest
Yes.
kills because it's around 8% right now from IRS.
Wow. So they don't go according to what anybody else is doing. They just figure it out and say, 8% sounds good to me. So, and what are they going to do, right? And what are the people going to do? So to stay away from IRS problems, let's listen to Dustin.
Thank you.
Ladies, so partying. We're back
Yes.
to partying. So, in your business now, we were talking earlier about parties and children's parties and characters. Approximately how many characters do you have as a part of your, what is it called? A part of your business?
Our cast of characters.
Your cast of characters. Yes.
Also, a tab on our website.
Yeah.
You'll see there too.
So
with
it's
a link.
a cast of characters. Okay, a cast of
Yeah.
characters. So how many characters do you have?
We have probably 100 or so in-house, and then
Okay.
if there's something that, you know, we don't necessarily carry, we have other subcontractors that may have the costume, or we have relationships with other planners that do carry that costume.
Okay, wait a minute. You have the ability to book out 100 different characters.
Well, it may be a different story, like actually staffing the parties, but we do have about 100 different costume options.
Oh, yeah,
I should
costume
say.
options. So
Yeah.
do you have these costumes?
Yes.
Or,
You should see my
Really?
house. It's and Rachel's house too. I mean, like
Wow.
mascot. My entire kitchen is taken up by bins that all the mascots are housed in, and I have two. I have one large hall closet completely packed with all costumes and supplies in another closet, and then I have like an itty bitty space in my closet in my room that's for my own personal stuff. But
That's amazing. 100 characters. And then, what are the most what are the most asked for characters, like boy characters or girl characters? Gender, not specific character type.
probably girl characters, I'd say, for the most part. A lot of princesses.
Yeah, a lot of princess
Yeah.
parties.
Yeah, I know. Princesses are so much fun.
Yeah, they are.
And then the guy characters tend to be more like the superhero kind of things, and the guys in here are giggling right now. They're laughing.
Yeah.
This whole party thing, I'm loving it. Okay. So when you how far in advance, if someone wants to book a character with you, how far in advance should they contact you for a party?
Well, I think we would like at least 2 weeks. I think we're booked out. We have one in May right now.
Wow.
And however, this morning we also booked a party for this weekend. So it really runs the gamut. And that's the big thing about being in our business is we have to be so flexible and then on all the time.
Right.
And the other thing is that parties happen all the time too. So we definitely want to be a part of it. And part of that is keeping the open schedule and just being able to roll with it.
Wow. Now, if someone wanted to utilize your services, which I'm sure they would because now I want to. Stop it, Dustin. I see you over there. What would they do? How do they contact you?
Well, there are a myriad of ways to get a hold of us, but inkabinkkids.com, that's INKABINKKIDS.com. You can also give us a call, 818-533-1FUN, or you can also email us as well. It's inkabinkkids@gmail.com.
I love it.
Yes.
Where'd you get the name from, Inkabink? I like it.
That's
Thank
all
you.
you.
Well, yeah, I came up with it because, as a kid, I was kind of a creative kid, and I created a greeting card company, a fictitious greeting card company that I called Inkabink Monkey Works. And it was like a little monkey that I would make greeting cards. It was a weirdo. So on the back of the card, I had a little logo. It was a monkey that had a beanie on his head, and he was the Inkabink monkey. So I'm paying homage to my childhood, I guess. So.
No, that's interesting. So have you ever, do you still use that as a part of, because that's great.
The Inkabink monkey?
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually something to think about, maybe getting a logo design. We've talked about it
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like a work in progress. Like Rachel's husband actually is a photographer, and he does all of the beautiful photography, that you see on the website. So that's another thing when clients will call, asking like, are the performers the actual people in the photos?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, and that's like our big thing, is that we can actually say yes, and that those are our actual costumes.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
Like,
and
that
it's
is
not
the
a
person-
stock picture. It's your costume, your actual actor
Yes.
in the costume.
Right.
And I feel like that's a huge selling point, because when do you get something that genuine, that is exactly what you see, and it looks like stock photography. Like, I'm fortunate that we have a photographer who's great. But yeah, I think it kind of sets us a little different.
A little apart, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the companies that you see, they're taking photos with like an iPhone camera or whatever. And some of the websites that I've seen, not to knock any of the other, companies that we may even work with, but it's not as professional looking. Like, we really took the time out to create, a very nice, slick website with all
Absolutely.
professional photography, because I think that's what sets us apart. And for the most part, all of the costumes that we have as well are all custom made. We always make sure to send out phenomenal entertainers, and we try to provide exceptional customer service. Like, when someone calls, we treat them with the utmost respect, answer every single question that they could possibly have about the party, and try to make them feel comfortable, with booking with us.
Wow. I'm ready to book a party myself. I mean,
We
and
got
I don't even
you.
have a small kid. Stop, Dustin. There's probably
I'm going to
3
send a
jokes.
mascot to Dustin's house.
You know what? And Dustin's laughing because Dustin has a sense of humor, and I know he's thinking of jokes in his head that I'll hear about after the show. So, Dustin.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. So, Dustin, are you going to be booking a party sometime soon?
Definitely soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. So back to the parties for a second. Now, when you book a party, what is the minimum amount of time and the maximum amount of time that you could book a party for? Is there a minimum and maximum?
There is. For just a character appearance, we'll do a half hour, but generally speaking, we'll do an hour is the minimum, and that's where we're able to do the activities. They'll go, I would say the average birthday party is between an hour to 2.5. However, we've done events, as long as 6 hours, 8 hours. We've done marathons, face painted at marathons, balloon twisted at, carnival type things that are often many hours and whatnot. So it really, again,
We'll party all day night long. So.
Yeah, and every party's different. That's the thing, you know.
Right. But
So-
what a great business to be in.
Thank
right?
you. It's
Yeah.
fun. That's we like to have fun. Fun is in the actual number.
It is.
Absolutely. And give us that number again and the contact information.
It is 818-533-1386, which is one fun. And you can also hit us up online, incubatekids.com.
And check out that website. Your website is awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
you.
It's very well done. I thought they were stock pictures because it's so well done. So that's a compliment to
Thank
you.
you.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll tell
Yes.
her husband that.
Right.
He really appreciates it too.
Yeah, so 100 characters to choose from, and if they don't have the characters online, you can call them and ask them, and if it's possible to get that character, they will. And they will help you with any other, things that you need for your party, and they'll outsource those things that they're people that they're in, I'm sure, in partnership with that are as professional as they are. So if you need to plan a child's party or an adult party who's a child at heart, please contact, because I think it'll be awesome. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so back to our party. So, like when, from an accountant's perspective, you have a client who are party promoters for children or for even adults. What is some advice you would give them as far as, they do a great job of keeping up with the paperwork and all of that. But someone starting out in that business, what would be some advice you would give them to not just keep their paperwork together, but as far as, billing? What is something they could do as far as billing is concerned? Does the question make sense?
Yeah. In terms of billing, just I guess from how based on my clients and probably some other people and even myself, billing wise, make sure it's very straightforward. Disclose as much as you can, and that's what a lot of clients like. They want to know what they're getting into.
Right.
And, they'll be more than happy to pay if, the product is good, the service is really good, and I'm hoping they tip too. So
Right.
but from that any kind of starting business is just make sure you plan everything before you start it.
Right. And going to see, I can't stress this enough, going to see the professionals, before you get started, or if you don't do it before you get started, soon into it, get to a professional, because, you don't want your dream to be, tarnished by your lack of using professionals to help you get through that process, because that process can be painstaking if you don't know what you're doing. Right?
Of course.
And people like Dustin can help you, and why not? Now, Dustin, for advice, how much do you charge for advice?
Usually for the first half hour, we free consultation. Other than that, it's $175 an hour.
Okay, that's not bad. You know what? and so for the first 30 minutes of a consultation, you'll consult with them for free.
Yeah, I'll go through, I'll get to know what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk to them, maybe, if it's a risky type of business, maybe, incorporate or create an LLC, talk about the tax ramifications of everything, go along with even getting extra insurance, and, trying to see what kind of plans they have. So hopefully, they don't have to, learn along the way. They're kind of just making sure they have it already kind of set out. Trying to prevent that mistakes time,
Right.
like the hard lessons.
Right.
That's definitely, you don't want to lose that time for those hard lessons.
Absolutely.
So hopefully you can minimize that to just keep growing.
Right. Now, another question I have for you was, okay, we all know what the deadlines are supposed to be, but there are some misnomers out there, because I did get a question, if I file an extension and I owe taxes, do I have to pay the taxes that I owe?
Yes, you do. You have to pay April 15th or, whatever the next
penalties.
business day is,
Okay.
if it lands on the weekend. So, yes, just because you go on extension means extension to file, but not extension to pay.
Okay.
So, yeah, the IRS gives you a little leeway if you were off a little bit. So you should put a estimate amount that you think you're going to owe if you haven't got any of the numbers correct. So it's good to get all your numbers ready. Try to have your preparer or yourself prepare the return, the worst case scenario, so to say. Make that payment, and then try to get all your records ready until you could file.
Right. So don't think that you can wait until April 16th, 17th, 18th to start to go and see, or make your appointment to go see, an accountant, because you're going to file an extension. Because if you owe, you have to pay by the deadline. You can file the actual tax return up until the cutoff of the extension, but you have to have at least the estimate in of what you owe. That can be that's critical, because some people are under the false thought that you can pay the taxes after the extension, and that's not the case.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
and then just remember, corporations are always due 2.5 months after the year end. So if you're a calendar year end, it's due March 15th. If you are fiscal year end at 6/30, it's always 9/15.
Okay, perfect. Hope everybody got that. That's the serious stuff. We don't want to mess that part up. Talking about our money, right? There's nothing worse than making a lot of money and then having to give it back, right?
Yeah.
So, ladies, on the party side, I love this, because we got the serious and then we got the party, but what it does is it gives balance, because you have to be able to, you should be in a position to pay your taxes. So let's start this off. Whoever is out there and they're looking at opening their own business or starting their own business, no matter what that business is, go and see an accountant first. Go and see a business attorney first. Get your ducks in a row. Find out if you need to have an LLC, a corporation, or if you need to do that at all. What kind of bookkeeping you need, what's suggested for software you need, so that you can get started and on your way and not have to, pay at the end that, fees that you don't want to pay.
Of course. And then actually, if anyone's interested, I do have like a template, an Excel template. So if you didn't want to sign up for any kind of online service or like buy QuickBooks, anyone could ask for this template from me, and it shows your income, expenses, and the date, and a description of what it is. You can always email and request that from me. The email is at info@lpwcpas.com.
One more time.
info@lpwcpas.com.
That's wonderful. Ladies, would you like to give your contact information again?
Sure.
Yes, I'll go for it this time.
Okay.
All right. Please call us at 818-533-1386 or 818-533-1FUN. You'll both get to talk to us.
That's
So-
great.
And our website is www.inkabinkkids.com.
Now, is there what radius do you go? Like, what part are you local to a certain specific city or cities, or how far out will you go?
We go pretty far, actually. I mean, we'll go anywhere as far as like Palmdale, Lancaster area, all the way to Riverside.
Wow.
And down to Dana Point.
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah.
So you go in California, for almost Southern California, coast to coast.
Mhm.
So from Lancaster area all the way down to San Diego.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, because we have in-house performers, but we also have some other people that are closer to those areas that we can dispatch over there as well.
That's another thing. How many parties have you done at one time, like all in the same day? What's the largest number of parties you've done in one day?
Oh, as a performer or just as a company?
As a company.
Let's see, probably like 20, I think.
Yeah.
It gets crazy, especially during some of the major holidays like Halloween and Christmas.
And all the parties tend to be somewhere between 3 to 5. Maybe they start at 2 and end at 3:30. Maybe they start at 4:30, go to 7. But it's just prime time.
Right.
Got to be on.
Especially Saturdays. Saturday's your
Especially
big day.
Right.
And as an individual performer, how many shows how many parties have you had to do in one day?
I remember, we don't really perform too much anymore because there's so much going on in the office and so much, that you have to worry about on the weekends, like getting panicked calls sometimes.
Right.
But I'd say probably about like 5 personally for myself.
Wow.
And how about for yourself?
I would say probably 4. But there'll be long events.
Right. And all in one day.
All in one day. And the other thing is that when you're working with kids, and this is really a big part of our training too, is that you've got to be on. You're bringing all your energy all at once.
That's
and
right.
your best side of you. There's no like being tired or,
Yeah.
getting a
can't just
coffee.
coast.
Yeah, you're on.
And a big
So-
part of it is a smile. And I noticed from both of you that the big smiles, right?
Yeah.
To keep the kids' energy up.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you don't have to keep kids' energy up. Keep your energy up so you can, handle entertaining them.
Yeah, well, we're both entertainers by trade, so it's kind of easy. It's second nature for us, and we really love kids, so.
Yeah, it works out.
So, as you expand your business, are there any other aspects of the business that you would like to start including in your business that you don't offer right now?
Oh yeah, and that's where we'd eventually like to maybe franchise. We were just talking about that in the car over here, and we'd also like to start incorporating like maybe table and chair rentals, maybe bounce houses eventually. So that when clients call, like not only do we offer the character entertainment, but we offer the entire package.
Yeah, ideal a one-stop shop at the end of the day. But, just even with a birthday party, like, of course there's going to be tables, there's chairs. There's definitely going to be a birthday cake there or some type of cupcake, birthday tree, whatever symbol. And that's where we'd like to eventually grow to. And that was a question I have for you, Dustin. When do you know that an LLC never has stopped serving you and that you should take it to the next level of becoming a different corporation or...
You could always stay as the LLC. When starting, your split income start becoming equally like around 60 to 70, just because self-employment taxes play into a factor. Usually, then you start thinking of making the LLC tax as an S corporation. But once you do that, then you start doing payroll for yourself.
Got it.
So then you could, you'll still have payroll taxes, but then just because the income's coming in so high that you could play with the reasonable wages part of the S corporation.
Okay, that's what I thought. The
Yeah.
S corp. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so you guys are on your way.
We're on our way.
That's right.
Yes, we are.
So at what point in your business did you put your website up? Like how far into your business did you put the website up?
I had it up right away,
Right
and
away?
when I first started the business, I knew ahead of time because I wanted to expand it. I didn't just bill myself as a solo entertainer. I decided to make it appear that it was an entire company.
Right.
Just because I knew it was going to eventually grow. But I always had the website. I knew that if you didn't have an online presence, where were people going to find out about you, or what were they going to reference if they wanted a picture of a character?
Right, exactly. So in your type of business, your website was important to have right up front.
Absolutely. I'd say that most all of our businesses, online based, like a lot of our clientele will come from Yelp, Craigslist, and then the rest I'd say is, word of mouth. We have such a large network of people that we work with now. So, you get like returning clients and friends of friends and things of that nature. But yeah, the online presence is extremely important.
I agree with that. Definitely. A lot of people will just look your site up just to get to know who you are.
That's right.
Before making a call, because they want to see if you actually are like professional.
Exactly. Yes. You're listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm Miss Charlene, and we're having lunch today with two wonderful guests. And before I go any further, I'd like to say that this conversation for me is rewarding because it gives me both the business owner who's growing their business, and also the aspect of it where we're talking about the financial support that you need from someone who's qualified with accounting and bookkeeping, so that you can live your dream, but also secure yourself in knowing that as you live your dream, you're not costing yourself from a financial perspective, because that's really important. Because what I've seen, a lot of businesses wind up failing because they don't know whether they're profitable or not. The money's coming in, but the money's also going out. So because they have it in their hands doesn't necessarily mean it belongs to them. That's something my mother taught me. Just because you have money in your hand doesn't mean it belongs to you.
Yeah.
So you have to put it in those, places that it belongs. So having someone like Dustin to help you with that is important. Very important.
Yeah, and I'd agree. That was one of the first things that we talked about. We sat down and said, how much do we really make at a party? Because we're paying for supplies, costume, the performer. And I just feel like even knowing that little bit of information really helped us, even in pricing and knowing what we're doing as a company.
That's absolutely right, because you could be pricing too low, and not making a profit. So you have to know exactly what your cost factors are. Is that right?
Exactly.
Dustin?
Right.
You don't want to be doing it for charity.
Exactly.
Yeah. We actually just had a meeting about this the other day. We're trying to figure out ways to cut down on our merchant fees, hiring more in-house employees rather than, subcontracting them out, so that, we bring in more income at the end of the day,
Yeah, and that's been our main thing as like our goal for next year in taxes is like, because we do what you say as far as keeping track of our income in the different categories, is that our merchant fees really got us this year, those credit card online transactions.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
But then sometimes that's a guarantee that you're getting paid.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
hard
It's
thing.
like a necessary evil of finding the balance between it. That's what we find.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always shop around, but that just means you're using a lot more time for that. But
Right.
if you could save a lot of money, that'd be great. But yeah, even in my business, that's a heavy expense too.
The online credit
Yeah.
card.
But
Yeah,
at least I know
merchant
in the end of
fees.
the day, I get
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the good part about it, yeah.
Right. So that's something that needs to be talked about a little bit, that we kind of touched on, that the listeners may not understand, is that when they use the credit card services, there's a fee attached. And those fees can mount up, and you don't realize that, that's in addition to whatever your other costs are, and so, you have to figure out how to build that into your pricing too, because, it's definitely a cost factor. So, Dustin, did you want to speak to that a little bit?
Nope.
Okay, that's about right.
Yeah,
right?
that's about right.
And then and like you said, you want to make sure you're getting, price a good price, but don't spend a lot of time, invested in that, because I guess it's pretty across the
pretty even
board is across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coming from an accountant, he would know, right? Because I'm sure. You are having lunch with the Finance Bunch. This is Miss Charlene, and we have in the studio today Inca Bink Kids and Alex and Rachel. It's so much fun having you here. And Dustin Wu, our CPA, he's keeping us out of tax trouble. And, tax time is coming up. Do not sit around and wait for the last minute, because there's more to do, especially when you are a small business owner. If you haven't done the work up front, you should start now, don't you think?
Of course.
But getting it together so you don't give Dustin a headache. Give yourself a headache, right?
Yeah.
So, Dustin, I want to thank you ahead of time, because I know we're going to run out of here in about 5 minutes. But before we leave, I want to tell you, thank you so much for taking this time out to come in and talk to us about this, because I know this is the busiest time of year for you.
It's a little busy.
Yeah. Quite busy, especially as successful as you are. So I want to thank you. And Dustin, give them your contact information again so that we have the CPA that's in the house
Sure, no
available for others.
Phone number is 310-385-8750. And the email is info at lpwcpas.com. I'm located in Beverly Hills. If you ever want to do a Yelp search, it's on Olympic Boulevard.
Absolutely. And, take him up on his advice about, emailing him to get that spreadsheet so that you can take a look at it and see what categories apply to your business. Take him up on that 30-minute free consultation and see if he's the right fit for you, because I know he is for me. I wouldn't go anywhere else, but that's just my opinion. And then these ladies with their party for children and the children at heart, I suggest that you take a look at their website. It is so professional, so well done, and easy access. And I'm not very user-friendly with the internet. Dustin, stop it. But it's very user-friendly, so I get on and you can go and see what's there, contact information. The pictures and illustrations are beautiful. Yes, and so you are definitely the party crew that I will refer everyone to.
Thank you.
So please give them
you.
your contact information again.
Okay, Rachel, would you like to do the honors?
818-533-1386, and you can email us at inkabinkkids@gmail.com, and you can go to our website at www.inkabinkkids.com.
Love it. Dustin.
Yes.
And before we leave, what I'd like to know is there any thing that you'd like to give us as just a little bit of advice that we haven't covered here so far, because you would know more than us what questions should be asked, a person should ask themselves when they're preparing themselves for tax season. Is there anything, other pieces of advice you want to give us?
When it comes to making money, just make the money. Don't worry about the tax.
I like that.
Because as you grow, you get one client, and if you're afraid to get that next client, then you shouldn't be in business.
That's right.
So keep growing, get that bottom line dollar. And you never know, because this one client could refer to another client to refer to another client, and it keeps growing.
That's right.
So don't be afraid to make money because of taxes.
Right. And do it in excellence. And that's the thing that Rachel and Alex are doing that I applaud you for, is that you are doing it in excellence. So that when a person goes to your website, they know right away that this is, a company that puts their customer first. You make it user-friendly, you make it attractive, and there's no better compliment to your clients than to do it, customer service-oriented like that. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, Dustin, before we go, you've come on the show before. I want you to promise that you'll be back. That's
I
why I
will
got
be
you here
back.
today, because I made him promise. I said, I know tax season is coming, but you got to come
Pinky
back.
Square.
Pinky square.
Nah,
I
close
love it. There we go. And ladies, as your business grows, I'd like for you to come back and let us know how things are going.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, I'm going to make sure I direct people to your business, and anyone that's having a child's party or a party for someone who has a child's heart, talk to these ladies. They would love to help you with that. And ladies, give your contact information one more time before we leave the air.
Okay. You can reach us at 818-533-1386. That's one fun. Or you can also visit our website, INKABINK. DS. Oh wait, hold on. K-I-D. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got lost in the verbiage there. InkaBankKids.com. Thank you.
Yay! And Dustin, give us it one more time so we'll know where to come and find you.
310-385-8750 or lpwcpas.com.
I love it. Thank you, Mike, to my guests both for coming in. Dustin, thank you again.
Thank you.
Rachel and Alex, I absolutely love what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you again for being a guest on my show.
Thank you.